1,550. That's the number of nuclear warheads Russia was allowed to aim at the United States. 1,550. Not 1,551. Not 1,549. Exactly 1,550, because there was a treaty. New START, the last nuclear arms control agreement between Washington and Moscow. And in 3 days, it expires. February 5, 2026. No extension, no replacement, no new deal. For the first time since 1972, there will be no limits on how many nuclear weapons Russia can build, or deploy, or aim at American cities. President Trump could extend it with one phone call to Putin. He won't. And that's not recklessness, that's strategy. Let me take you back. February 5, 2011. Prague, Czech Republic. President Obama and President Medvedev signed the new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. New START. The rules were simple. Each side gets 1,550 deployed strategic nuclear warheads. Each side gets 700 deployed delivery systems, missiles, bombers, submarines. And here's the part that actually mattered: verification. 18 inspections per year. Each country could send inspectors into the other's nuclear facilities. Check the missiles. Count the warheads. Verify compliance. Russia knew exactly what we had. We knew exactly what they had. Mutual transparency. Mutual restraint. It worked for 15 years. Until February 23, 2023. Russia invades Ukraine. The West sends weapons, billions of dollars, HIMARS, Javelins, F-16s, and Putin suspends Russia's participation in New START. No more inspections, no more verification, no more transparency. The treaty was already dead. It just took 3 more years for the corpse to get buried. February 5th is the funeral. So why is Trump letting it die? Because the treaty was designed for a world that doesn't exist anymore. New START was signed in 2011, back when the biggest threat was Russia, back when China had maybe 200 nuclear warheads. Today, China has over 500 warheads, and they're building more. Fast. The Pentagon estimates China will have 1,000 warheads by 2030. Some analysts say 1,500. That's the same number Russia is allowed under New START. Except China isn't part of New START. So here's the math. Russia, 1,550 warheads, limited by treaty. China, 1,000 warheads and growing, no limits. United States, 1,550 warheads, limited by treaty. You see the problem? We capped ourselves. Russia capped itself. China did whatever it wanted. Trump's position is simple. We're not signing a new treaty unless China is in it. China's position is even simpler. No. So the treaty dies. Now here's where it gets really interesting. 2 weeks ago, Friedrich Merz, likely Germany's next chancellor, said something remarkable. Germany should consider developing its own nuclear deterrent. Let that sink in. Germany, the country that lost World War II, the country that was literally divided because nobody trusted it with weapons. Germany wants nuclear weapons. Why? Because they don't trust America anymore. Trump has said repeatedly, Europe needs to pay for its own defense. The U.S. might not honor Article 5 of NATO. You're on your own. And Europe is listening. Germany looks at Ukraine. Russia is grinding through 1 million artillery shells, firing hypersonic missiles, threatening nuclear retaliation if the West crosses red lines. Germany looks at Trump. Maybe we pull out of NATO, maybe we don't. And Germany makes a calculation. We can't rely on the American nuclear umbrella anymore, so we need our own. France already has nuclear weapons, about 300 warheads. Britain has about 225. If Germany builds its own arsenal, we're looking at 4 nuclear powers in Europe, plus Russia. That's not deterrence, that's proliferation. Here's what happens next. New START expires February 5th. Russia immediately begins expanding its nuclear arsenal. No limits, no inspections. Putin has already announced development of the RS-28 Sarmat missile. NATO calls it Satan II. 1 missile, 15 warheads. Each warhead can be independently targeted. 1 missile can hit 15 different American cities. China continues its buildup. New silos in Gansu province, new ballistic missile submarines, new hypersonic delivery vehicles. The United States responds. The Pentagon has already requested funding for new warhead production, new Columbia-class submarines, modernized ICBM fields. Cost estimate $1.5 trillion over 30 years. Germany starts its nuclear program. Poland asks for NATO nuclear sharing. Japan reconsiders its pacifist constitution. And we're back to 1962. Except this time, there are more players, more weapons, more chances for miscalculation. The Cuban Missile Crisis nearly ended the world with 2 nuclear powers. Now we're heading towards 6, maybe 7. What could possibly go wrong? Why should I care about some treaty? Because that treaty was the only thing preventing an unchecked nuclear arms race. Without New START, Russia can build as many warheads as it wants. China faces no international pressure to limit its arsenal. Other countries see nuclear weapons as the ultimate insurance policy. The risk of accidental nuclear war increases exponentially. Here's the scenario that keeps Pentagon planners up at night. Russia moves troops near the Baltic states. NATO responds. Somebody fires a missile. Was it conventional? Was it nuclear? Nobody knows because there's no verification anymore. 30 minutes to decide, respond or don't respond. Get it wrong and 50 million people die. That's not hypothetical. That's the world without arms control. And we're entering that world in 3 days. February 5th, 2026. The last nuclear treaty between the United States and Russia expires. No extension, no replacement. For the first time in 54 years, there are no limits on the nuclear arms race. Trump says we need a better deal, one that includes China. He's probably right. But until we get that deal, there's no deal at all. Just 2 nuclear superpowers. No rules, no verification, no transparency, and a bunch of other countries looking at Germany and thinking, maybe we need the bomb too. The Cold War ended in 1991, 35 years later. It's back. And this time, there are more players, higher stakes, and nobody's blinking first. This is Daniel Crawford, and we'll be watching what happens next.